On our honeymoon, my husband's phone rang. I looked down and saw a voice message from a woman named Jiro in the contact, and he opened it right in front of me. Chingjo Gij, congratulations on your new marriage. About coming to see me last night. I won't tell your wife. This is our little secret, okay? The entire VIP waiting lounge fell silent. I stared at Li Qingzhou. His face changed. He snatched the phone away and said it was only an ordinary friend. Would an ordinary friend call Qingzhou? Brother, did an ordinary friend come to see you last night? I didn't quarrel or fuss. I sat down with a smile and said okay, since it's an ordinary friend, then you call her now. Put on speakerphone, and make it clear in front of me. His face turned completely green. Passengers waiting for their flight beside us were watching us, and someone secretly snapped photos with their phone. Li Qingzhou clenched his teeth, suddenly stood up, dragged his suitcase toward the boarding gate, and without looking back dropped a line, Shenlua Shu, you like to believe it or not, I'm not waiting on you anymore. Body begins. The sun in the Maldives shone through the airport's huge floor-to-ceiling glass windows, dazzlingly bright. I stood in the VIP lounge, clutching the first-class boarding pass in my hand, nails digging a deep groove into it. That voice memo just now kept looping in my head. Qingzhou Gij, happy wedding, last night when you came to find me. I won't tell my sister-in-law about it. This is our little secret. Bai Jiro's voice was sweet, soft, like it was coated with honey, but every word stabbed at my heart like a knife. The first day of married life, yesterday at the wedding, Li Qingzhou, in front of all the guests, put a ring on my finger and said he would love me for a lifetime. His eyes were so sincere, his voice so gentle, I nearly believed him. As a result, on the night of the wedding, he left by car, claiming there was an urgent matter at the company, and stayed away for 3 hours. He didn't return until 2 o'clock in the morning. I asked him where he was going, and he said he was going to handle the contract, with an impatient look, saying I was being suspicious. At the time I thought I was too sensitive. Now thinking back, during those 3 hours, he went to find Bai Jiro. Ladies, your husband has boarded the plane. May I ask if you will be leaving together? The voices of the ground crew pulled me back to reality. I looked up and saw her professional smile, with a hint of sympathy in her eyes. She must think I'm a pitiful woman left by my husband, right? I took a deep breath, tucked the boarding pass into my bag, and said to her, no need, please help me change to the next flight, okay? May I ask when you'd like the new flight to be? Tomorrow. The ground staff froze for a moment. Ma'am, the next flight is 2 hours later. Are you sure you want to rebook for tomorrow? Sure. I finished speaking and turned around, dragging my suitcase toward the exit of the airport. As I stepped out of the terminal, the tropical humidity hit me in the face, and I looked up at the blue sky, the corners of my mouth slowly curling into a smile. Li Qingzhou, you think you're done just because you left me behind? You're wrong. This is only the beginning. I took out my phone, not calling Li Qingzhou, but dialing another number. After 2 rings, someone picked up. A steady male voice asked, President Shin, any instructions? Old Joe, I said as I walked toward the airport exit where the taxi queue is. What's the current situation with the Li Group stocks? They've been rising recently. Li Qingzhou just took over the Li Group, and the market has high expectations for him. Add to that your wedding news yesterday trending, and the stock opened today up by 3%. Okay. The voice was calm. Activate Plan B. There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the line. Old Joe lowered his voice and asked, President Shin, are you sure? Once this plan is set in motion, the Li Group it will collapse. I finished for him. I know. And your marriage with President Li? Marriage? I laughed, and the laughter held not a trace of warmth. Going to find another woman on the first night of our newlywed life. What's the point of keeping this kind of marriage? Old Joe won't persuade me anymore. He followed me for 3 years and knows my character all too well. Once I decide something, even 10 oxen can't pull it back. Understood, Mr. Shin. I will contact the team immediately to activate all short positions against the Li family, and reach out to the shareholders who hold more than 5%. They've been waiting for your message. Within 3 days, I want to see Li's stock price fall below the offering price. Yes. After hanging up the phone, I have gotten into a taxi to the hotel. The driver is a local, asking me in my broken Chinese, Miss, which hotel? I lean against the leather seat and watch the palm trees rushing by outside the window, and say, the Anantara, Anathra. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror, surprised. That hotel is expensive. It's $2,000 per night. I know. The driver fell silent and pressed the accelerator. I took out my phone, opened the social app, and posted an update. The accompanying image shows the blue sky and white clouds at Malé International Airport, with the words, On the first day of our honeymoon, my husband left first. It's okay, I'm happier alone. After posting, I log out of the app and open another encrypted application. Inside is a detailed file detailing all of Lee's group's financial data, equity structure, major shareholder list over the past 5 years, and evidence that Lee Ching-zhou and his good father conspired to falsify accounts. I have been collecting these things for a full 2 years from the day I married Lee Ching-zhou. I knew this marriage wouldn't last long, but I didn't expect the day would come so soon. The Anadler Hotel is built on a private island, accessible only by speedboat. I sat on the speedboat, the sea breeze blowing my long hair, the salty sea air rushing into my nostrils. The distant overwater bungalows glittered in the sunlight, like a scene that only appears in fairy tales. Arriving on the island, the hotel butler was already waiting at the dock, bowing to me with hands folded in greeting. "Miss Shin, welcome, your presidential suite is ready." I nodded, following the butler along the long wooden boardwalk. As we passed a couple, I heard the woman whisper to the man, "Oh my goodness, isn't that Mrs. Lee of Lee Group? She just got married yesterday. Why is she staying at a hotel by herself?" The man also recognized me and lowered his voice to say, "Didn't you see what she just posted? She said her husband left first. Couldn't be a fight, right?" I pretended not to hear, keeping a calm face as I walked ahead. Back in the suite, the butler stepped out, and I stood alone in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. Outside the window stretches the endless Indian Ocean, the sea of blue so deep it's like a giant gem. People are walking on the beach, some taking photos. Everywhere there are sweet couples, only me alone, standing lonely in this room worth $2,000 per night. If it were with another woman, by now she would have cried into tears, but I did not. I opened the suitcase, took out a red dress to change into, and carefully did my makeup in front of the mirror. The woman in the mirror was radiant and stunning, with sharp light in her brows and eyes, nowhere near the abandoned wife left by her husband. After finishing my makeup, I picked up my phone, took a selfie facing the mirror, and posted a status update. The caption consisted of only 4 characters, "Night on the island." After finishing, I picked up the menu on the table, ordered a bottle of red wine worth $3,000, and the most expensive lobster set meal. When the butler delivered the meal, his smile stiffened. He had probably never seen someone eat so much. I ate with great gusto. In the middle of eating, my phone suddenly vibrated. It was a call from. I stared at the screen for 3 seconds and didn't pick up. He called again. I continued not to pick up. When the third call came, I put his number on the blacklist. Then I opened the social app and found that the post just now had already exploded with comments. In the comments, some people said I was pitiful, some said I was pretending to be strong, and some wondered whether I had already divorced Lee Ching-zhou. I didn't reply to a single one. I just logged out of the app and sent a message to Lao Zhou. "Let's begin." The moment the message was sent, I felt like a player who had finally made the first move on the board, and Lee Ching-zhou, that arrogant man, still doesn't realize he has already been checkmated. He thinks letting me go is a punishment for me. He didn't know that this was the stupidest decision he had ever made in his life. I poured another glass of red wine and raised it to the sunset outside the window. "Lee Ching-zhou, happy wedding," I whispered, the smile at the corner of my mouth cold as ice. "Wish you a pleasant death." The night grew deeper, and the starry sky over the Maldives was unreal in its beauty. I lay on the 2-meter-wide bed in the presidential suite, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Not because I was sad, it's because of excitement. Old Zhou just sent a message saying that several major shareholders of the Lee Group have agreed to a meeting tomorrow morning to discuss selling their shares, and these major shareholders are the ones I negotiated with, one by one, over the past 2 years. Lee Ching-zhou always thought I was a Cinderella who married into a wealthy family. He doesn't know that I, Shin Lushu, was never any Cinderella. I was just waiting for an opportunity, and he personally delivered this opportunity into my hands. I picked up my phone and glanced at that voice message once more. "Ching-zhou Gij, happy wedding. Last night when you came to see me, I won't tell Auntie, this is our little secret, okay?" Bai Jiro's voice still echoes in my ears. I suddenly laughed. "Bai Jiro, do you think grabbing Lee Ching-zhou is winning? Do you think I would crumble just because you made him leave me? You're too naive. Tomorrow, when Lee Group's stock price starts to plummet, you'll know who the real winner is." I placed my phone on the bedside table and turned off the light. In the dark, I closed my eyes, and the curve at the corner of my mouth never fades. "Lee Ching-zhou, enjoy your final peaceful sleep properly. Starting tomorrow, your world will collapse. Chapter 2, calmly rebooked. The night in the Maldives is long, but I sleep more soundly than anyone else. Early the next morning, sunlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows and woke me with my phone buzzing. I picked it up and saw a message from Lao Zhou, President Shin. The Li Group opened this morning. The stock price has already dropped 8%. The market is starting to panic. I rubbed my eyes, sat up, and replied with 2 words, continue. Just as I put the phone down, the hotel butler brought breakfast, French toast with fresh squeezed juice, plated so delicately it looked like a work of art. While I ate, I opened my social app, and that selfie from last night already had more than 20,000 comments on the hot search list. The topic Li Qingzhou abandons his wife on their honeymoon surged to the 3rd place. Clicking in, it shows a video of Li Qingzhou boarding alone at the airport, which was posted online and quickly fermented. The comments were uniformly scolding him. Some called him a scumbag, some said he was deceitful in marriage, and others unearthed by Jiro's social account, discovering that she posted a late-night update yesterday with an image of a bouquet of red roses and the caption, "The best wedding gift." The location of that update was a hotel near Li Qingzhou's company. I put down my phone, and a curved smile lifted the corners of my mouth. By Jiro, this woman is really impatient to climb the ranks, but I just won't bow to her wishes. I picked up my phone and sent a voice message to Lao Zhou. Lao Zhou, help me contact a few entertainment bloggers. Push by Jiro's post to the hot search. Use the keyword hashtag Li Qingzhou's new marriage infidelity hashtag. Lao Zhou replied quickly, understood, arranged within 10 minutes. After breakfast, I changed into a swimsuit and walked to the hotel's private infinity pool wearing a bathrobe. The pool is built on the edge of a cliff, with the blue sea below. The scenery so beautiful it makes you want to scream. I'm lying on a lounge chair by the pool, wearing sunglasses, holding a glass of iced coconut water. A few foreign tourists nearby are secretly looking at me, and one blonde woman asks her companion in English, "Isn't that the bride of that Chinese magnate? Why is she alone?" I reply to her in fluent English, "Because my rich husband is not worthy of me." The blonde woman is stunned for a moment, then bursts out laughing and gives a thumbs up. I laugh too, raising my coconut water for a toast with her from across the distance. Just then, the phone rang. It was a strange number. I hesitated for 2 seconds and picked up. Shenluo Shu. On the other end was Li Qingzhou's furious voice. "Did you block me? Are you crazy?" I spoke leisurely. "Oh, Mr. Li, hadn't you already boarded and left? How do you have time to call me? Don't give me that sly, offhand tone." Li Qingzhou lowered his voice, as if not daring to speak loudly in public. "How many times do I have to tell you? Bai Jiro is just an ordinary employee at my company." That voice message was her prank. "Don't make a mountain out of a molehill." I laughed. "Li Qingzhou, on your wedding night you went out for 3 hours. You didn't come back until 2 in the morning. You told me you went to handle the contract. As a result, White Jiro sent a voice message the next day saying you went to see her last night. Do you think there are such coincidences in this world?" There was a 3-second silence on the other end of the line. I went to see her, but it wasn't what you think." Li Qingzhou's voice suddenly softened, with a hint of guilt. "She said there was an urgent document at the company that needed my signature, so I went." "Oh, that company really is dedicated, making you sign papers on your wedding night. By the way, what documents did you sign? Can you show them to me, you Shenluo Shu? What ultimately do you want?" His voice grew irritable again. "I'm in the Maldives right now, alone. Do you know how embarrassing it is for me to be alone?" The hotel receptionist's eyes look at me in the wrong way. I almost laughed out loud. "Embarrassed? When you left me at the airport, didn't you think about whether I would be embarrassed or not? Mr. Li, whether you feel ashamed is your business. It has nothing to do with me." I'm now in the presidential suite of the Anantara Hotel, facing the sea, in spring bloom, living quite happily. Don't worry about me any longer. Take care of yourself in your white moonlight. Anantara. Li Qingzhou's voice rose by 8 degrees. "That hotel costs $2,000 per night. Where did you get the money? Where did I get the money from?" I deliberately drew out my words. "Didn't you give me a black card with a supplementary card? The limit is $5 million. So what if I stay in the presidential suite for a few days? You come back, rebook the ticket immediately, fly over to me today." "Not going." Shenluo Shu, hang up. "I want to go swimming." I hung up the call and casually added this new number to the blacklist as well. Then I took off my bathrobe, jumped into the pool, and swam 2 laps in the blue water. When I came ashore, Lao Zhou sent over a document with the title, Li Group Equity Purchase Plan. I opened it and looked through it carefully. The plan was very detailed. Lao Zhou and his behind-the-scenes team had calculated every link. The Li Group's equity structure was relatively dispersed, with Li Qingzhou and his father Li Guoliang holding a total of 38% of the shares, and the remaining 62% dispersed among more than a dozen shareholders, and I have already quietly contacted 6 of the major shareholders, whose combined shares amount to 35%. As long as I seize this 35%, plus the 12% I purchased on the secondary market, I will have 47%. Surpassing the 38% held by the Li family father and son, and become the largest shareholder of the Li Group. 47% versus 38%, I win by 9 points. These 9 points are something I cultivated over 2 years, sip by sip with a glass of wine. Before marrying Li Qingzhou, I had already started laying out my plans. At every Li Group shareholders meeting, I would attend as the president's wife, chatting with the shareholder wives, playing mahjong, and getting beauty treatments. They thought I was an ordinary woman clinging to a wealthy family, so they let their guard down around me and told me everything. Whose husband wants to cash out, whose husband is dissatisfied with Li Qingzhou, whose husband urgently needs money. I've kept all these details in my mind and will send them one by one to Lao Zhou. Then old Zhou took the money to find those shareholders and quietly bought back their shares at a price 10% above the market price. Those shareholders thought they had found a gullible target and cheerfully sold their shares. They don't know that the gullible fool is me, and the money I spent buying these shares all came from me. When Li Qingzhou married me, he thought I was an orphan with no parents, raised in an orphanage, finished college on scholarships, working as a clerk in a small company. He doesn't know that I started that company. He didn't know either that I, Shenluo Shu, started stock trading at 16, founded my own investment company at 18, and by 22 my net worth had exceeded 1 billion. The reason I chose to marry him is not because I love him, because I intend to take over the Li Group. I have planned this project for a full 2 years, and every step has been calculated precisely. The only variable is that I thought I could pretend to fall in love with him during the execution of the plan, but I didn't do it, because he's really scum. The phone by the pool rang again, this time not a call, but a social app notification. I opened it and saw a private message from Baizhiro. She didn't know how she got my account, but she sent a message. Shenluo Shu, brother Qingzhou doesn't love you anymore. Be sensible and voluntarily divorce. Stop clinging to him. It's unsightly. I looked at the message and couldn't help but laugh. This woman is really eager, isn't she? I typed a line and sent it. Miss Bai, do you know what Li Qingzhou's bank password is? There was silence over there for more than 10 seconds, then it sent back a question mark. I typed another line. You don't know, do you? But I do. I set all his passwords, because his brain isn't enough. He can't remember complex things. A man who relies on his wife to remember even his bank password. Do you think he would give you up for me? This time Baizhiro replied quickly. Don't get cocky, brother Qingzhou said it. He married you just to cope with the family. He has never loved you. I replied. That's fine, I never loved him either. After sending this, I blocked Baizhiro as well. Then I lay on the lounge chair by the edge of the pool, looking up at the white clouds in the sky, and let out a long sigh. The plan has been set in motion. Once the bow is drawn, there is no turning back. Li Qingzhou, the moment you abandoned me, you had already lost. At 3:00 p.m., Lao Zhou sent the latest news. Li Group's stock price fell by as much as 15%, triggering a temporary trading halt. Meanwhile, several entertainment bloggers pushed the hashtag Li Qingzhou newlyweds cheating hashtag to the top of the hot searches, and clicking in revealed solid evidence. Baizhiro's post with the red rose was screenshot, with the timestamp perfectly matching the time Li Qingzhou left on the night of his wedding. Some people also dug up multiple ambiguous posts Baizhiro had previously made, the timeline dating back to 6 months ago. Public opinion had completely exploded. Li Group's public relations department urgently issued a statement, saying that during the wedding Li Zong absolutely did not engage in any extramarital affair, Baizhiro is just an ordinary employee, and that the rose post was a misunderstanding. But netizens don't buy it. An ordinary employee calls Qingzhou Gige, signing documents at the company on your wedding night. Is your company open 24 hours? Don't wash it. The more you wash, the darker it gets. I watched the raging public opinion on the phone screen, and the smile at the corner of my mouth grew deeper. This is only the first step. What comes next will be even more exciting. In the evening, the hotel butler delivered a handwritten letter, saying someone had left it at the front desk. I opened it and saw that it was written by Li Qingzhou. The handwriting was so messy it looked like a chicken's claws crawling across the page. Luo Shu, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I shouldn't have left you alone. Come to me, okay, I'm at the Four Seasons Hotel, not far from you. Let's talk things over, I really didn't wrong you, do you believe me? I folded the letter twice and threw it into the trash, then I picked up the phone and called the front desk. Please arrange a dinner to be sent to the room, Miss Shin, what would you like to have? Anything, the more expensive the better. After hanging up, I walked to the mirror and looked at the eyes of the woman in the mirror. Cold as ice. Li Qingzhou, do you realize you were wrong now? It's too late, because of the mistake you made. It's not about leaving me alone, but that from beginning to end, you have misunderstood me. I am not your accessory, not your ornament, and certainly not a doll you can discard at will. I am Shin Lushu, I am the one who will soon pull you off the throne. Outside the window, the sunset sinks into the sea, and the sky is dyed a blood red, just like the stock price of the Li Group. Tomorrow, Chapter 3, Island Reversal. Maldives. Second day, I lived very comfortably. Waking up naturally in the morning, the housekeeper brought breakfast, and I ate while reading the battle reports sent by Old Joe. After the Li Group resumed trading today, it continued to plummet, with losses reaching 22%, and its market value evaporated by tens of billions. Li Qingzhou had gone crazy with urgency. Why do I know he's crazy with urgency? Because he changed 5 phone numbers to call me, and I blocked every single one. In the end he called from the hotel front desk, and as soon as I recognized his voice, I hung up. He also sent me more than 10 messages, ranging from I was wrong to just you wait, with an emotional roller coaster that's more thrilling than a roller coaster. I didn't reply to a single one. At 10 a.m., I chartered a luxurious yacht out to sea. The yacht had a captain, a chef, and 2 waiters. The deck was covered with white cushions, and there was champagne and fruit on the tea table. I was wearing a bikini, a straw hat, and lying on the deck sunbathing. The captain asked me, Miss, where would you like to go? I said, anywhere is fine, as long as we go out to the open sea. The yacht slowly sailed out of the harbor, and the sea breeze blew my hair everywhere. I picked up my phone, filmed a clip, and posted it on social media. In the video, I raised a glass of champagne to the camera, smiling. A honeymoon alone is pretty nice too. It had been less than 10 minutes since I posted the video, and the comments had already exceeded 10,000. Some praised my beauty, some defended me, and others criticized me with snide remarks, saying, left by her husband, and she's still so happy, her heart must be wide. I sent the screenshot of the last comment to Lao Zhou, with the caption, check who this account belongs to. Lao Zhou replied 5 minutes later, Mr. Shin, the registered phone number for this account is the assistant to Li Qingzhou. I laughed. Li Qingzhou, you're too chicken to curse me yourself and have your assistant do it for you. How cowardly are you actually? I told Old Joe, ignore him, keep shorting. The yacht sailed to the middle of the sea and stopped, surrounded by endless blue where no land could be seen, and no ships could be seen either. The captain cut the engine, and the whole world became so quiet that only the sound of waves remained. I jumped into the sea and swam a lap. The water was crystal clear, and colorful fish swam beneath my feet. After getting ashore, a waiter handed me a bath towel, and the chef brought in freshly roasted lobster. While eating the lobster, I kept scrolling on my phone. The hot search list has been updated again. This time it's not about an affair, but someone alleging that the Li Group's financial chain is in trouble, with several major shareholders secretly planning to sell their shares. The source of this news is an insider. That insider is me. I let Old Joe release the news. What does the stock market fear the most? What it fears is uncertainty. Once investors feel the company is about to change, they panic sell, and the stock price plummets like a waterfall. The harder the stock price falls, the more those shareholders want to sell. The more they want to sell, the more I can acquire at low prices. This is a perfect loop, and I am the center of this loop. At 3 p.m., the yacht returns. When I got back to the hotel, the front desk told me there was a guest waiting in the lobby. I walked over and saw that it was Li Qingzhou's mother, my mother-in-law, Wang Guilan. Wang Guilan, in her 50s and well-kept, had a face ashen white at the moment, with 2 large bags under her eyes, looking as if she hadn't slept all night. When she saw me, she charged over, her voice sharp enough to pierce the glass. Shin Luo Shu, what exactly are you up to? I stood still, calmly looking at her. Mom, what brings you here? Why do you come here? You still have the nerve to ask. Wang Guilan's lips trembled. You posting all those random updates, making the whole net condemn our Li family. The company's stock price has fallen to that extent. Do you know your father-in-law's blood pressure shot up out of anger? Mom, posting updates is my freedom. As for the company's stock price, that's market behavior. What does it have to do with me? Nothing to do with you, Wang Guilan sneered. You think I don't know? A few shareholders suddenly say they want to sell their shares. It's definitely your doing. I looked at her, said nothing, she guessed right. But so what? She has no evidence. Mom, if you came to see me, I welcome it. But if you came to lecture me, then I think there's no need to talk. I turned to leave. Stop. Wang Guilan grabbed my arm. Shenluo Shu, I tell you, you marry into the L family, you belong to our L family. If you were born to be of the L family, your dead body will be an L family's ghost. Don't think you can turn the world upside down. I lowered my head and glanced at the hand she used to grab my arm, then slowly raised my head and spoke word by word. Mom, you're wrong. What? I did not marry into the Li family. I am the one who was down married. Wang Guilan was stunned. I shook off her hand and continued. When your son married me, how much dowry did he give? 500,000. If my dad were alive, the dowry alone would be more than 50 million. In my eyes, your Li family means nothing. You say crazy things. Wang Guilan's face flushed red. I'm speaking the truth. If you don't believe me, you can check how much assets I, Shenluo Shu, own. Wang Guilan's lips trembled for a long time, unable to say a word. I was too lazy to waste any more words with her and turned to walk toward the elevator. Behind me, Wang Guilan's heart-wrenching howl rang out. Shenluo Shu, you come back here. You tell me clearly what's going on. I did not look back. At the moment the elevator doors closed, I saw Wang Guilan slump onto the lobby sofa, covering her face and crying, but I felt no trace of sympathy in my heart. Because when I married into the Li family, how did she treat me? Saying I was climbing up, saying I was unworthy of her son, saying I was a wild child pulled from an orphanage. I didn't forget a word of those words. Back in the room, I took a shower and changed into clean clothes. Old Joe sent a message saying that 4 shareholders have agreed to sign tomorrow and transfer the shares in hand, added to some of the shares I previously acquired. My stake now reaches 31%. There are still 16 percentage points to 47%. These 16 points will take me 2 days. I gave Old Joe a call. Has the situation with Baijiro been arranged? Everything is arranged, Old Joe said. I had someone deliver a bouquet of flowers to her, with the card signed Li Qingzhou. Also booked a hotel, supposedly opened by Li Qingzhou. Very good. Take a photo and send it to me. Understood. After hanging up the phone, I walked to the balcony and looked at the distant sea. The setting sun is sinking into the sea. The sky dyed purple-red, as beautiful as a painting. I take a deep breath. The air carries the saltiness of the sea and the fragrance of gardenia. Maldives is truly beautiful, so beautiful that it almost makes me forget that this is a war, but I know the war has only just begun. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Lao Zhou sent a photo. In the photo, Baijiro is holding a large bouquet of red roses, standing at the entrance of a hotel, smiling like a flower. The name of the hotel is the Four Seasons Hotel, Maldives, and Li Qingzhou happens to live at the Four Seasons Hotel. I saved the photo, then opened a social app and posted this photo from a burner account, with the caption, Li Qingzhou, president of Li Group, staying in the same hotel as a female employee Baijiro during his honeymoon. Is this a coincidence or arranged? After posting, I greeted a few entertainment bloggers and asked them to help share it. Within less than an hour, this post was trending. The comment section's vibe is like this: holy crap, this is way too blatant. My husband abandons his wife outside, then turns around and stays at the same hotel with his mistress. What an absolutely despicable scumbag. Is Baijiro's face made of a city wall? Miss Shenluo Shu, run quickly. This kind of man is better left alone. I scroll through the comments, and the corners of my mouth curl up more and more. The phone vibrated again, this time with a message from an unknown number. I opened it and saw only one line. Shenluo Shu, you will regret this. The number's location is Maldives. I could tell just by using my toes who sent it. I replied with 2 words, wait and see. Then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. That night, I slept more sweetly than the day before, because I dreamed that Li Qingzhou knelt at my feet, begging me to let him go, and in the dream, I smiled and said to him, the moment you let go of me, your life was no longer yours. Chapter 4, The Backyard Fire-Up. On the 3rd morning in the Maldives, I was awakened by a rapid knocking at the door. I wrapped myself in a bathrobe and went to answer the door. Outside stood a stranger in a suit, holding a folder. May I ask if this is a mess, Shenluo Shu, he asked. Yes, it is. I am Mr. Li Qingzhou's lawyer. My surname is Zhang. These are documents Mr. Li asked me to hand to you. I took the folder, opened it, and saw a divorce agreement. The terms were written quite generously. Give me a house, a car, and 5 million in cash. The condition is to sign within 3 days and delete all posts related to the Li family on all social platforms. After I finished reading, I laughed. 5 million, is that supposed to be begging money? Lawyer Zhang, please tell Li Qingzhou that I will not sign this divorce agreement. Lawyer Zhang pushed up his glasses. Ms. Shen, Mr. Li says if you don't sign, he will take legal action. Legal action. I handed the folder back. Fine, let him come. I want to see how the court would judge a man who, on his honeymoon, cheats and abandons his wife. Lawyer Zhang's face changed. He didn't speak again, and after taking the folder, he left. I closed the door, sat on the edge of the bed, and took out my phone. Old Joe sent a message saying that all 5 shareholders had signed, and the total stake now amounts to 38%. There were still 9 points to go. I told him, keep contacting the remaining shareholders, at any price. I want it. Just after I sent that, my phone rang. It was Li Qingzhou calling. This time he hadn't changed his number. It seemed he was using a friend's phone. I hesitated for a moment and picked up. Shenluo Shu. His voice was hoarse to the point of being unbelievable, as if he had been drinking. What exactly do you want? Have you read the divorce agreement? If the terms aren't satisfactory, we can negotiate. Li Qingzhou, you think 5 million is enough to deal with me? What do you take me for? How much do you want? 10 million? 20 million? Speak up. What I want, you can't give. You say it. I, Li Qingzhou, can give you anything. I paused for a second, then spoke the line. I want 51% of the Li Group. There was dead silence on the other end for 3 seconds, then Li Qingzhou burst into a wild laugh. Ha 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 ha, Shenluo Shu, are you crazy? You want a stake in Li Group? Do you know who you are? You, a poor girl who grew up in an orphanage. What right do you have to Li Group's shares? I calmly said. Am I unqualified? Of course you are not. Li family was founded by my father with his own hands, and you and Shenluo Shu have nothing to do with it. You should drop this idea and die quietly, then there's nothing left to talk about. Li Qingzhou, goodbye. Wait, ahem, Shenluo Shu, listen to me clearly. If you dare to talk recklessly on social media, I will have a lawyer sue you until you go bankrupt. Go ahead and try. I hung up the phone and blocked this number as well, then I sent a message to Lao Zhou. Bring up the plan for phase 2, within today, Lao Zhou replied. Got it. At noon, Li's group announced again that founder Li Guoliang resigned as chairman due to health reasons, and Li Qingzhou would take over. This announcement was originally good news, with the market expecting the new leadership to hit the ground running and the stock price to rebound. But then, another piece of news suddenly emerged. Someone posted online the group's financial data for the past 3 years, showing that the company had seriously inflated profits. A few major shareholders dumped shares on the same day, cashing out billions. When the news broke, the Li Group's stock price plummeted like a kite with a cut string, falling as much as 30%. The exchange suspended trading urgently. I sat on the sofa in the hotel room, staring at the K-line chart on the computer screen, the smile at the corner of my mouth growing deeper. All of this was part of my plan. Those financial data were compiled by my request from Lao Zhou's team over 3 months, with each item traceable and auditable. Those large shareholders' reductions in holdings were also arranged by me. The shares in their hands have already been sold to me, so of course they say publicly that it is a reduction. The market doesn't know where those shares went, it only knows that someone is selling. Selling means negative news, bearish news means the stock price will fall. When the stock price falls, it makes it easier for me to continue acquiring. One link fits into the next, a perfect and seamless chain. At 2 p.m., Joe sent a message that the remaining shareholders have softened and are willing to sell their shares. With these, my stake will reach 46%, 46% versus 38%. I'm sure to win, old Joe said on the phone. President Shen, it seems something is off over at Li Qingzhou's side. He's been asking around who is acquiring the shares. Let him investigate. He won't find out. Because the account for acquiring shares was opened under the name of an offshore shell company I own, the registered office of that company is in the Cayman Islands, and its legal representative is a person who does not exist at all. Li Qingzhou, even if you could turn the whole world upside down, you still wouldn't find me. At 3 in the afternoon, I received a video. In the video, Li Qingzhou is in her room at the Four Seasons Hotel, smashing things. He smashes a desk lamp, smashes the television, and smashes the mobile phone. In the end, he knelt on the ground, hands clasped over his head, as if crying. I watched this video, and my heart remained calm without a ripple, because I know this is far from enough. The moment he left me, he was not a lofty CEO, but a scumbag who doesn't even understand the most basic respect. He cries, not out of guilt, but out of fear. He is afraid of losing everything, and what I have to do is make him lose it completely. I turn off the video, put on a black evening dress, and apply a refined makeup. Tonight, I'm going to have dinner at a restaurant in the Four Seasons Hotel to meet my dear husband in his dear white moonlight. At 7 o'clock in the evening, I appeared at the seaside restaurant of the Four Seasons Hotel. The restaurant lights were dim, the sound of waves accompanied by jazz, and the atmosphere was incredibly romantic. I chose a seat right in the middle and ordered the most expensive bottle of champagne. Just as the waiter was pouring the champagne, I saw them, Li Qingzhou and Bai Xiru. They walked out of the hotel lobby, Bai Xiru's arm linked with Li Qingzhou's. Laughing like crazy, the two were wearing couple outfits, looking like a newlywed couple on their honeymoon. What a irony! Bai Xiru saw me first, and she froze as if struck by lightning. Li Qingzhou followed her gaze and looked over. His face went pale. Shenluo Shu, his voice trembled. You, what are you doing here? I lifted the champagne glass and swirled it gently, saying, come have a meal. The lobster here is good. Want to join us? Bai Xiru's face flushed red, and her lips trembled as she said, Shenluo Shu, are you following us? Following, I smiled. Miss Bai, this restaurant is public, anyone can come, but you, my husband is on a business trip. What are you doing following us? Did the company assign you to come serve the boss? The other diners in the restaurant looked over, and some recognized us, starting to murmur. Bai Xiru's face changed from red to white, then pale again, like a palette. Li Qingzhou clenched his teeth, lowered his voice and said, Shenluo Shu, don't make a scene here. It's you who should be ashamed. Shameful. I stood up, stepping toward him. Li Qingzhou, during our honeymoon, you left me at the airport and brought your lover to the same hotel. Do you think I'm the one who should be ashamed? You, what nonsense are you talking about? Li Qingzhou's eyes went wide. Bai Xiru came of her own accord. It's got nothing to do with me, really. I took out my phone and opened that photo. So how do you explain this photo? You gave her flowers and booked a room for her. Does this mean you have no relationship? Angelica Shirley cried. Wasn't that flower sent by you? Wasn't that room opened by you? The hall fell silent. I looked at Bai Xiru and said word by word, why should I send you flowers? Why should I rent a room for you? Who are you to me? Bai Xiru's mind finally turned around, and her face instantly paled. Yes, there is someone pretending to be Cheongzhouji to me. Her voice grew softer and softer. Who pretended to be him? Where is the evidence? I asked. Bai Xiru couldn't say a word. Li Qingzhou grabbed my wrist with a grip so strong it felt like he could crush my bones. Shenluo Shu, are you plotting against me? I lowered my head to look at his hand, then raised my eyes to his, and smiled. Li Qingzhou, what if I am plotting against you? You were the one who wronged me first. I ripped his hand away and turned to walk out of the dining hall. Behind me, I hear Bai Xiru's crying and Li Qingzhou's furious roar, along with the sound of a phone taking photos. I know that tonight this scene will quickly spread across the entire internet, and what I want is this kind of effect, because I not only want to take away everything from him, but also ruin his reputation. Let everyone know what kind of man Li Qingzhou is. As I stepped out of the restaurant, the sea breeze hit my face, and my eyes prickled a little. But I didn't cry in my life. Shenluo Shu will never cry for any man again. Chapter 5, Begging for Mercy. On the fourth day in the Maldives, Li Qingzhou went crazy, I mean really crazy. At 6 o'clock in the morning, he appeared in the lobby of the Anantara Hotel, disheveled, with a scruffy beard, eyes red like a rabbit. The front desk called me to say that Mr. Li wanted to see me. I refused to see him and told them to send him away. He won't leave. He was in the lobby shouting, saying he wanted to see me, and that if he wasn't allowed to see me, he would jump into the sea. Hotel security arrived, but Li Qingzhou wrestled like a madman, smashing 2 vases in the lobby and pushing over the front desk computer. Finally the hotel manager called, speaking in a tone of embarrassment, "Miss Shin, this gentleman's emotions are very unstable. If you could come down and meet him, it might be better." I hung up the phone and sat on the edge of the bed thinking for 3 seconds. Then I changed my clothes and went downstairs. The moment the elevator doors opened, I saw Li Qingzhou. He was slumped on the lobby sofa, his hair messy like a chicken nest. His shirt wrinkled, 2 buttons missing, mud smeared on his leather shoes, stains on the cuffs, completely unlike a billionaire CEO, more like a tramp on the street. The moment he saw me, his eyes brightened for a moment, then he suddenly stood up from the sofa, stumbling as he rushed over. "Luo Shu," his voice was hoarse, almost inaudible. "Luo Shu, I was wrong, I was really wrong." I stayed where I was, expressionlessly watching him. He rushed in front of me and dropped to his knees with a thud. All eyes turned toward the foyer. Some guests were taking photos with their phones, a waiter stood nearby looking at a loss, and even the doorman at the entrance stretched his neck to catch a glimpse inside. Li Qingzhou knelt in front of me, tears and mucus smeared across his face, crying like a child. "Luo Shu, please, stop it." He grabbed the hem of my dress, his voice trembling. "The company is ruined, my father is in the hospital. My mother has fallen ill too. If you don't stop, our Li family will be finished for good." I looked down at him and spoke word by word. "Li Qingzhou, you kneel here and beg me. Is it because you love me?" He was stunned. "Is it because you're afraid of losing everything you have?" His mouth moved, but no words came out. "If I were still that poor girl who grew up in the orphanage, with no shares of your company in my hand, would you kneel down and beg me?" "You wouldn't. You would slam the divorce agreement in my face, drive me to leave with nothing, and then marry Baijiro with a smile." "No, Luo Shu, it's not like that." His voice grew softer. "Which way is that?" I asked. "Li Qingzhou, you say you love me, then tell me, on our wedding night where did you go?" He was silent. "You went to see Baijiro, didn't you?" He still doesn't speak. "What are you looking at her for?" She said there's something urgent." Li Qingzhou's voice was as small as a mosquito buzzing. "What is it?" I pressed. "What could be more important than a wedding night?" Li Qingzhou's lips trembled for a long time, finally squeezing out a sentence. "She said she is pregnant." The whole venue erupted in an uproar. In the lobby, exclamations rose and fell. Some drew a cold breath, some muttered a dirty word under their breath, and some burst into applause. I stood there, as if drenched from head to foot by a bucket of ice water. "Are you pregnant? Is Baijiro pregnant?" In other words, before I married Li Qingzhou, he had already made another woman pregnant. I suddenly feel nauseated, disgust radiating from the bones. I took a step back and pulled the hem of my skirt away from his hand. "Li Qingzhou," my voice was very soft, as light as a leaf falling, "when you married me, did you know she was pregnant?" He bowed his head, afraid to look at me. You know everything. You still married me the same. Do you take me for what? A shield, a tool, or your Li family's breeding machine?" "Luo Shu, that child isn't mine." He finally looked up, his eyes full of bloodshot veins. "Baijiro said she was pregnant. I gave her money to have an abortion. She said she did it. I don't know she was lying to me." "Did she lie to you?" I laughed. "So you're innocent, and it's all her fault." Baijiro is carrying your child. You went to her on your wedding night, and the next day you left me at the airport." "Li Qingzhou, who do you think you are? Do you think I will forgive you?" "Luo Shu, please." He started crying again. "I'll give you whatever you want. I'll give you the company shares, the house, I'll give you everything. Just stop. I don't want your charity. What I want, I'll take myself." He looked up, his eyes full of fear. What do you mean, Li Qingzhou?" I bent down, leaning close to his ear, speaking in a voice only he could hear. "How many shares do you still hold in your hands?" His pupils suddenly dilated. 38%, I continued. "Guess how many I have in my hands right now." His lips began to tremble. 46%, 8% more than you." "No, impossible." His voice sounded like it was squeezed from the back of his throat. "Where did you get so much? Where did you get the money? Where did the money come from?" I straightened up, looking down on him from a higher position. "Li Qingzhou, you never asked me who I am. Do you think I was raised in an orphanage? Do you think I financed my college education with a scholarship? Do you think I worked as a clerk in a small company? Who exactly are you?" "I am Shen Luo Shu. I am the person who is about to become the largest shareholder of the Li Group. Li Qingzhou slumped to the ground, like a pile of mud. The hall was terrifyingly quiet, only the hum of the air conditioner and the distant sound of waves hitting the shore. From today on, the Li Group will no longer bear the Li surname. Having said that, I turned and headed toward the elevator. Behind me, I could hear Li Qingzhou's heart wrenching, crying, "Shenluo Shu, you can't do this, I beg you, I'll kneel to you, I'll kowtow to you." I heard the thudding sounds behind me, the sound of him really kowtowing. Marble floor, it hit hard and loud. I did not look back. The moment the elevator doors closed, I saw Li Qingzhou kneeling on the ground, his forehead already bleeding from the impact. The door closed. I lean against the elevator wall, tilting my head back, and exhale a long sigh. My eyes are dry, my heart feels empty. I can't quite describe the feeling. Is it the thrill of victory, the satisfaction of revenge, or something else? Perhaps there are. Perhaps there aren't, but the only thing I'm sure of is that I don't regret it. The elevator reached the top floor, and I swiped my card to enter the room. Old Joe called, voice excited, "President Shin, the video of Li Qingzhou kneeling in the hotel lobby just went online, and the views have surpassed 50 million, trending at #1. Got it, have the other shareholders signed. The last shareholder just signed as well, with the secondary market included. We now hold 47% of the shares, which is 1 point more than expected. Okay, arranged to return to the country. A shareholders meeting will be held tomorrow, and I will officially take over as chairman of the Li Group." Understood. I hung up the phone and walked to the balcony. The sun spilled onto the sea, the waves glittering, beautiful as if not real. In the distance there was a small black speck. That's the Four Seasons Hotel where Li Qingzhou lives. I don't know if he's still at that hotel, or whether he really jumped into the sea, but none of that matters anymore. What's important is my plan. Just one last step missing. I take out my phone and scroll to Baijiro's social account. Her latest post is from this morning, a hospital ultrasound, with a caption that reads, "Baby, mom will protect you." The ultrasound report says, 8 weeks pregnant. 8 weeks ago was the day I got engaged to Li Qingzhou. I suddenly smiled. This child came at just the right time. On my way to the hotel restaurant, I was thinking that if Baijiro really is pregnant with Li Qingzhou's child, then they are ironclad evidence, the proof of Li Qingzhou's infidelity during marriage. These pieces of evidence are enough to make him lose the divorce case badly, enough to let him walk away with nothing, enough to make him have nothing at all. I send a message to old Joe. Send the ultrasound image of Baijiro's, the line, the screenshot too. The media used the title hashtag Li CEO commits adultery within marriage, causing the mistress to become pregnant. Hashtag. Old Joe replied instantly, received. I put down my phone, stood on the balcony, and opened my arms to the sea breeze. The wind in the Maldives is really strong, so large that it can blow away all tears and grievances, so large that it can blow in a new life. Tomorrow, I will return to my country as a winner. Chapter 6. The counterattack. On the day we returned home, the airport was crowded with journalists. The flashes kept snapping, and microphones stretched over like a forest, almost swallowing me. "Ms. Shin, may I ask whether you and Mr. Li Qingzhou are already divorced?" "Miss Shin, Baijiro is pregnant with Mr. Li's child. Were you aware of this in advance?" "Miss Shin, I heard you have already become the largest shareholder of the Li Group. Is that true?" I was wearing sunglasses, a Chanel suit, and 10-centimeter high heels, escorted by 4 bodyguards as I walked out of the terminal. A harsh voice came from behind. "Shenluo Shu, stand still for me." I turned around and saw Li Qingzhou rush out from another corridor, followed by a few bodyguards, but he looked much more of a mess than I was. He hadn't changed clothes, still in yesterday's wrinkled shirt, a piece of gauze stuck to his forehead, the wound from bowing his head. The reporters, when they saw the two of us appear together, were so excited that they looked like they had adrenaline shot. Frantically snapping photos, Li Qingzhou shoved aside the reporters, rushed to me, pointed at my nose and said, "Shenluo Shu, you're amazing. Do you think you've won? Do you think becoming the #1 shareholder means everything is fine now?" I took off my sunglasses and looked at him. "So, do you still have any tricks up your sleeve? I tell you." He leaned in toward me, lowered his voice, but his expression was savage enough to eat someone. "That Baijiro kid isn't mine. I've already got the paternity test. Do you want to use this to frame me? Dream on." I raised an eyebrow and didn't say a word, and, he continued, a sly smile creeping to the corner of his mouth, "I've already called the police. You're suspected of manipulating the stock market and illegally acquiring shares of a listed company. Better prepare to go to jail." When the reporters heard the word jail, they exploded into a frenzy. I looked at him and suddenly laughed. Li Qingzu, did you call the police? Yes, just wait for the police to arrest you. Funny thing, I also called the police. His smile stiffened. My report to the police is, I said calmly, that Li Guoliang, the former chairman of the Li Group, and Li Qingzhou, the current chairman, are suspected of financial fraud, inflated profits, and illegal transfer of company assets. I have submitted all the relevant evidence to the China Securities Regulatory Commission and the Public Security Bureau. Li Qingzhou's face went pale. You. What did you say? I have evidence for everything you and your father have done, Li family, every fake accounting entry over the past 3 years, every transfer of benefits, every hollow shell company. I have all of it clearly traced. You, how dare you say that? Where did you get that evidence? From the first day I married into your Li family. The password to the safe in your father's study was told to me by your mother. The password to the computer in your office was told to me by your assistant. Those discreditable documents in your company were personally handed to me by your chief financial officer. Li Qingzhou's whole body seemed to be drained, staggering backward 2 steps. Impossible. Chief financial officer Old Zhao has been with my dad for 30 years. He would never betray us. A 30-year friendship. How much is it worth? I would give him 100 million. And he would tell me where your family ancestral grave is buried. Li Qingzhou's eyes stared like copper bells, his lips trembled for a long time, and not a single word could come out. The reporters have gone crazy, rifles and cameras aimed at the two of us, itching to record every frame of the footage. I looked at Li Qingzhou's pale face, and not a trace of emotion stirred in my heart. This man was someone I once thought I could entrust my life to, but now, he is just a failure defeated by my own hands. Li Qingzhou, you think you married Cinderella, but you don't know that. Cinderella's glass slipper is hers alone. The prince gave her nothing, because everything of the prince has never belonged to him in the first place. After speaking, I put on sunglasses and turned to the black car waiting outside. The bodyguard opened the car door, and I bent down to get in. Shenluo's shoe. Li Qingzhou's voice called from behind, choked with tears. You can't treat me like this. I am your husband. I turned my head and looked at him once. It won't be soon. I got into the car, and the moment the door closed, I shut out all the flashes and screams outside. The car slowly started, leaving the airport. President Shen, Old Zhou sat in the co-pilot seat and handed over a tablet. The shareholders' meeting is ready, 10 a.m., tomorrow, at the headquarters building of the Li Group. All shareholders will be present. I took the tablet, swiped the screen, and the agenda for tomorrow's shareholders' meeting was on display. Item 1, election of a new chairman. Item 2, review of the company's major asset restructuring plan. Third item, Li Qingzhou still holds 38% of the shares. He won't give up easily. Whether he admits defeat or not doesn't matter, Old Zhou said. With 47% against 38%, you'll win. Moreover, he paused, and from his briefcase he took out a document and handed it to me. What is this? Ms. Wang Guilan's share transfer agreement, Lao Zhou said. She holds 5% of the Li family's shares and has agreed to transfer them to you. The price is 1.5 times the market price. I was dazed. Why would she agree to sell? The Li family would use these shares to turn things around, because her son called last night to scold her, saying it was all because she pushed him to marry back then that she got you involved in this trouble. Wang Guilan, in a fit of anger. Then, I laughed. Okay, add this 5%, that's 52% total, absolute control. Old Zhou also laughed. Li Qingzhou still doesn't know about this. Let him keep that 38% as a keepsake. After tomorrow, even if he has 80%, he would still be a bear pole commander. The car drove into the city center, and when it passed the headquarters of the Li Group, I told the driver to stop. I rolled down the window and looked up at this 48-story skyscraper. The 4 Chinese characters of Li Group at the top of the building glittered in the sun. Tomorrow, these 4 characters will be replaced with another name. Change it to my name, Old Zhou. After tomorrow's shareholders meeting ends, arrange a press conference for reporters. No problem. What content should be prepared? Just prepare 1 sentence. What are you talking about? I withdrew my gaze and looked ahead, a curve forming at the corner of my mouth. The Li Group is officially renamed Luo Shu Group. The car restarted and headed toward my apartment in the city. On the road, I received a message, sent by Bai Jiro, Shenluo Shu. Let Chuanzhou Ji go. I don't want the child anymore. I'm leaving. I'm leaving far away, never coming back, I beg you. I stared at this message for a few seconds, then typed a few characters and sent them. Too late. Bai Jiro quickly replied, what exactly will it take for you to stop? I answered, I want all of you to pay the price. After sending this, I removed Baijiro from the blacklist, then added her back again. It's not that I am cruel, they were the ones who were unkind to me first. The car stopped in front of the apartment building. When I got off, I saw a familiar figure standing at the door. It was Li Qingzhou's mother, Wang Guilan. She wore a black trench coat, her hair a mess, and her eyes were swollen like walnuts. When she saw me get out of the car, she rushed over and knelt down with a thud. "Luo Shu," she cried, "Mom, please, I beg you, I kowtow to you, don't mess with our Li family. Your father-in-law is still in the hospital. The doctors say his heart can't take it anymore. If you keep going, he definitely won't survive." I stood there, looking down at her. This woman who used to despise me as a foundling from the orphanage is now kneeling before me, calling me Luo Shu, and referring to herself as Mom. Is it ironic? So ironic. Ms. Wang, stand up and speak. The ground is cold. I won't stand up. If you don't agree to me, I won't get up. Then you should kneel. I bypassed her and walked into the apartment building. Behind me came Wang Guilan's heart-wrenching cry, "Shen Luo Shu, you ungrateful thing, our Li family feeds you and clothes you, and this is how you repay us." I paused and looked back at her. "Madam Wang, you say I am ungrateful, then let me ask you, after I married into the Li family for 3 years, what have you given me? A decent piece of jewelry, a warm word, or a meal that fed me?" Wang Guilan's cries caught in her throat. "You gave me nothing but contempt, a cold face, and the 5 words the orphanage's wild seed. Now you ask me to repay you. Tell me, what kind of grace should I repay?" Wang Guilan opened her mouth, but couldn't say a single word. I turned and walked into the elevator, pressing the closed door button. When the door closed, I saw Wang Guilan still kneeling on the ground, like a statue. The elevator went up. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. In my mind flashed countless scenes: the empty huge bed on the wedding night, the moment the airport boarding gate closed, Li Qingzhou kneeling and kowtowing in the hotel lobby, and Wang Guilan kneeling at the doorway of the apartment. Now, scene after scene, flashing by like a movie. Then I opened my eyes. The elevator arrived, the door opened, I walked into the apartment, closed the door, and dialed Lao Zhou's number. "Have tomorrow's matters all been arranged?" "All of it has been arranged, President Shin." "Good. Tomorrow, I want everyone to see who the real winner is." Chapter 7, The White Moonlight Reveals Itself. On the day of the shareholders' meeting, the headquarters of the Li Group was crowded with people outside. Reporters, investors, and onlookers filled the street, blocking the entire block. More than a dozen security guards linked arms to form a human wall, barely maintaining order. I wore a white suit, my hair up in a bun, and a pair of pearl earrings. When I got out of the car, the flashbulbs blazed like daylight. Old Joe followed behind me, carrying a briefcase containing all the stock certificates and legal documents. "Mr. Shin, Li Qingzhou has arrived. He is now in the chairman's office on the 48th floor." "Understood, let's go." When I walked into the lobby, the receptionist girl saw me and her face turned white in an instant. They probably didn't expect that yesterday I was the subject of online sympathy as a newlywed abandoned by my husband, and today I had become the company's largest shareholder. I nodded at them and walked toward the elevator. The elevator doors opened, and there was a person inside, Baijiro. She wore a loose dress, her belly slightly rounded, and wore makeup on her face, but the dark circles under her eyes could not be concealed. She saw me, froze for a moment, then bit her lip and said, "Shen Luo Shu, can I talk to you?" "What are you talking about?" Talk about the children." I glanced at her, then stepped into the elevator. Old Joe followed, pressed the 48th floor. When the elevator door closed, the small space held only the 3 of us. Baijiro suddenly dropped to her knees with a thud. "Miss Shin, I beg you." Her tears streamed down. "The child really is Brother Qingzhou's. I said it was someone else before, but it was him who told me to say that. He said this would clear his name and prevent you from using the child as evidence against him." I looked down at her without speaking. "He also said," Baijiro cried, "that after I give birth, he would marry me, but now he regrets it. He said if I dare admit the child is his, he won't let me stay in this city. So you came to me because you want me to help you." Baijiro nodded hard. "I know you hate me, and I hate myself too, but the child is innocent. I can't let him grow up without a father." I bent down, meeting her eyes. "Baijiro, do you know why I hate you?" She shook her head. "I don't hate you for taking away Li Qingzhou. I hate you because you knew full well he had a wife and still wanted to be with him. The child in your womb, from the moment it conceived, was doomed to be an unmentionable love child." Baijiro's face turned deathly pale. you ruined my marriage, and now you want me to help you. I stood up, sneering. Baijiro, do you think I am saintess? I didn't mean that, she cried. I just don't know what to do anymore. The elevator reached the 48th floor, and the doors opened. I walked out, not looking back. Behind me, Baijiro's cries and pleas sounded. Miss Shin, don't go. Old Joe followed me closely and whispered, President Shin, I have recorded the entire conversation just now. Okay, after the shareholders meeting. Send the recording to the media. Understood. At the end of the corridor is the chairman's office. The door was ajar. I walked in and saw Li Qingzhou sitting behind that huge desk, a cup of untouched coffee in front of him. He had changed into a new suit, and his hair was groomed as well, but his spirit still looked terrible, his eyes full of bloodshot veins, and stubble on his chin that hadn't been shaved clean. When he saw me come in, he stood up. Shenluo Shu, are you really going to go this far? I sat opposite him, crossing my legs. Li Qingzhou, it's not that I did it decisively. You forced me to do it. You forced me. His voice rose. What did I force you to do? You forced me to marry you. Forced me to stay alone on my wedding night. Forced me to watch you leave without looking back at the airport. I said each word clearly. You forced me to become the cold-blooded, heartless person I am now. Li Qingzhou's lips trembled for a moment, then he sat back in the chair, both hands covering his face. Luo Shu, his voice muffled, leaking through his fingers. Can we start over? I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Return the shares to me, and we can live a quiet life, okay? I looked at the man who once made me think I could entrust my life to him, and a sudden sadness welled up in my heart. Start over. How do we start over? Some roads, once you walk them, you can never go back. Some words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. Some people, once hurt, never fully heal. Li Qingzhou, you can't go back. The office fell silent for a few seconds, then Li Qingzhou suddenly stood up, sweeping the coffee cup on the desk to the floor, ceramic shards scattering everywhere. Shenluo Shu, do you think you've won? Is that it? He roared, eyes reddened. I tell you, I won't let you succeed. I still hold 38% of the shares. I'm still the second largest shareholder in the company. I can still make it hard for you in the company. Are you sure you still have 38%, I asked. His expression froze. What do you mean? I took that document from old Joe and threw it on the table. Your mother has already sold 5% of the shares to me. Right now you only have 33%. Li Qingzhou seemed struck by lightning, his whole body pinned to the spot. He trembled as he picked up the document, flipped it open and glanced at it. Then his face shifted from white to green, then to purple. No way. His voice faltered. My mom can't sell shares. She wouldn't. She said you called her last night and cursed her badly. When she's upset, she sells. The price is 1.5 times the market price. She's very satisfied. Li Qing's hands began to tremble. The document slipped from his grasp, fluttering and settling on the floor. 33% against 52%. Li Qingzhou, you don't even count as the second largest shareholder now. He suddenly looked up. 52%. How could you have 52%? Didn't you say 46% before? That was yesterday. I smiled. Today it's another 5%. Where did you get 5%? You guess. Li Qingzhou's legs went weak, and he collapsed into the chair. His whole body sagged like an exhausted balloon, lying there limp, his eyes hollow, his lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. I looked at him and felt no trace of pity in my heart, because I knew that if I were the one to lose today, he wouldn't even spare me a glance. He would sign the divorce agreement with a smile, marry Baijiro into the family with a smile, and happily kick me out of the Li Group's shareholder list. That's who he is. This is Li Qingzhou. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the shareholder meeting officially began. The conference hall was full of people, dozens of shareholders, lawyers, accountants, and the company's management. I sat in the front row, with Lao Zhou beside me. Li Qingzhou sat on the dais, his face ashen. The first item on the agenda was to elect a new chairman of the board. The voting began, and the shareholders came to the microphone to cast their ballots in turn. The whole process was as quiet as a funeral. When the vote results were announced, the conference hall fell silent. Ms. Shenluo Shu, with 52% of the vote, has been elected as the new chairwoman. The applause started, sparse and irregular, as if someone was clapping by accident. Li Qingzhou's face looked as pale as a corpse. He stood up, opened his mouth as if to say something, but in the end he said nothing. Then he turned around, pushed open the door of the conference hall, and walked out. At the moment the door closed, I saw his silhouette walking farther and farther down the corridor, eventually disappearing around the corner. That silhouette was very much like the silhouette he had when, a month ago, he walked into the boarding gate at the Maldives airport without looking back. This time, though, the roles are reversed. I stood on the podium, facing all the shareholders and employees, and cleared my throat. Everyone, thank you for your trust. From today, the Lee Group will enter a new era. The room fell silent. First, the company will be formally renamed Lua Shoe Group. No one objects. Second, the company will undergo a comprehensive restructuring, and all executives involved in financial fraud will be dismissed and handed over to judicial authorities. There are whispers in the audience. Finally, Li Guoliang and Li Qingzhou, father and son, are suspected of embezzlement, inflating profits, and illegally transferring assets. The relevant evidence has been handed over to the public security authorities. Please believe that the law will give everyone a fair account. There was a scattered clapping in the conference hall, which grew louder and louder until it finally became a rousing cheer. Those employees who were once squeezed by the Li family father and son, those minority shareholders who were bullied by them, and the management who dared not speak out despite their anger, have finally waited for this day. I stand on the stage, looking at the excited faces below, and suddenly feel a bit like crying, but I held back because I promised myself that from today onward, I would only laugh and not cry. After the meeting ended, I returned to the chairman's office. Old Zhou had replaced the 3 characters on the door plate. From Li Qingzhou to Shen Luo Shu, I sit in that genuine leather chair, turning around, watching the cityscape through the floor-to-ceiling window. 48th floor, the whole city laid out at my feet, those tall buildings, those streams of cars, those people coming and going. Among them, no one knows that the person sitting at the highest point is someone who, just a month ago, was left by her husband at the Maldives airport. No one knows that the person who controls a 100 billion empire was once an orphan who no one wanted. No one knows that this woman spent 3 years laying out a scheme and personally pulled that man off the throne. But now, they will all know, because the story has only just begun. Chapter 8, Cleaning the Rich. On the first day taking over the company, there was only one thing I did: clean house. Old Zhou handed me a list, on which were all the inner circles of the Li family father and son within the company: the finance department, the procurement department, the sales department, the human resources department. Almost every department had someone from them. The total was 47. These 47 people, Old Zhou said, are a mix of veterans who fought alongside Li Guoliang, Li Qingzhou's classmates and friends, and a few relatives of Bai Zhiro. I looked at the list, picked up a pen, and drew a circle on it. Open all of them. Old Zhou paused for a moment. President Shen, some of these people are quite capable. If we just let them all go, wouldn't that be a pity? People with ability can go to other companies to show their talents. In my company, I only keep one kind of person, the loyal. Old Zhou stopped persuading and went out with the list to make arrangements. I continued to read the documents. They were the company's financial report. The more I read, the more terrified I became. In 3 years, the funds that the Li family moved out of the company totaled as much as 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion is enough to support 500 employees for 20 years. These funds were moved out under various pretexts: fake purchases, related party transactions, exorbitant consulting fees. Every transaction has detailed records, and everyone bears signatures and seals, and among those who signed, besides Li Guoliang and Li Qingzhou, there was also the chief financial officer, Lao Zhao. Lao Zhao is the one who sold me the evidence. He took the money and made a copy of all the company's financial data for me. Those data were like Pandora's box, filled with the sins of the Li family and their son. I picked up the phone and called Lao Zhou. Did you report it to the police? Yes. It's reported. The public security authorities are processing it, and they should come to arrest people this afternoon. Where is Li Qingzhou now? Over at his mother's place, Wang Guilan's apartment. Where's his dad? At the hospital. His heart bypass surgery just finished, and he hasn't woken up yet. I hung up the phone, leaned back in the chair, and looked at the ceiling. Li Guoliang is still in the hospital, life and death unknown. If he knew the company was gone and his son was going To prison. I wonder if his heart could still endure, but it's none of my business. He brought this calamity on himself, and he will face it himself. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the public security officers arrived. 3 uniformed policemen and 1 prosecutor in a suit entered the company gates. The receptionist girl was so frightened to see the police that her face turned pale, pointing to the elevator, saying, President Shin is on the 48th floor. The police went upstairs and knocked on my office door. Ms. Shinluo Shu, we have received a report that the Lee Group is involved in serious financial fraud and embezzlement. We need you to cooperate with the investigation. I stood up, shook hands with them, and handed the evidence copy that Lao Zhao gave me to them. All the evidence is here, including bank statements, transfer records, contract documents, as well as relevant audio and video recordings. The police browsed through them, their expressions growing more and more solemn. Ms. Shin, if these pieces of evidence are true, the amount involved is very large, and a sentence of more than 10 years could be possible. I know. I hope the law can do justice to the company. The police nodded, put away the evidence, and asked me again whether I could provide Li Qingzhou's address. He doesn't live in the original villa anymore. He's now in his mother Wang Guilan's apartment. The address is. I wrote the address for them. The police thanked me and walked away. I stood at the window and saw the police car downstairs driving away with its lights flashing. The direction was toward Wang Guilan's apartment. I picked up my phone and sent a message to Li Qingzhou. The police came looking for you. 3 seconds later, he replied, Shinluo Shu, may you rot in hell. I smiled and typed another line, even in death, it's better than you going to jail. After sending it, I turned off my phone and continued reading the documents. At 7 o'clock in the evening, old Joe called, President Shin, Li Qingzhou has been arrested. When did it happen? An hour ago. The police found him at his mother's house. He resisted arrest and even injured a police officer. He has been taken away now. Where is Wang Guilan? She cried herself faint and was taken away by an ambulance. Where is Li Guoliang? Still in the hospital. Not sure about this yet. But the doctor says his heart condition isn't good, and he can't be stimulated. I was silent for a few seconds. Don't tell him. How long can we hide it? How long can we keep it hidden? I understand. I hung up the phone, and I sat in the empty office, suddenly feeling a bit tired. It's not my body that is tired, it's my heart. 3 years have passed, 3 years of endurance, 3 years of scheming, 3 years of grievances. Finally, it is over. The city lights outside the window are bright, countless homes lit up. Behind each light, there is a story, and my story is just one of those countless lights. I once thought that marrying Li Qingzhou would be the highlight of my life. Now I know that this was merely the darkest prologue of my life. The true brilliance began to shine only at the moment I decided to fight back. The next morning, I held a company-wide meeting. The conference hall was full of people, hundreds of employees, a sea of black. I stand on the stage, looking at their faces. Some are nervous, some are expectant, some are panicked, some are excited, all kinds of expressions, all kinds of mindsets. Ladies and gentlemen, I spoke. My voice carried through the microphone to the entire conference hall. Yesterday, 47 people were laid off by the company. A hum of discussion rose from the audience. Some of these people are here because they participated in financial fraud, some because they were disloyal, some because they lacked ability. No matter the reason, they do not deserve to remain with this company. The murmurs grew louder. From today on, the company has a new name, Luo Shu Group, and it has new rules. I hesitated for a moment, sweeping the room with my eyes. There is only one rule: be loyal to the company, be responsible to the clients, and be worthy of your own conscience. The hall fell silent. Those who can uphold this will not be treated unfairly by the company. Those who cannot may leave at any time. I won't keep them. It fell quiet for a few seconds. Then someone started clapping first, not sure who. The applause grew louder and denser, and at last the whole conference hall resounded with claps. I stood on the stage, watching the people clapping below me, my eyes stinging a little, but I held it in, because I am Shinluo Shu, I am the owner of this building, I am the helm of this 100 billion empire, I am a girl who came from an orphanage, who spent 25 years to stand here. After the meeting ended, I returned to the office and found someone standing at the door. It was Bai Jiro. She was wearing a hospital patient gown, with a windbreaker over it, her face pale as paper, in her hand She clutched a piece of paper that said abortion consent form, Miss Shin. Her voice was very soft, as light as the wind. I had the baby aborted. I looked at her, and I said nothing. I had the operation this morning, she continued. The doctor said the baby has developed. It's a boy. Her tears streamed down, silently. I know you hate me, and I hate myself too. I shouldn't have meddled in your marriage. I shouldn't have carried his child. I shouldn't have believed him when he was deceiving me. She wiped away her tears and handed me the surgical consent form in her hand. I came here to say sorry to you. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I just want you to know that I have already been punished. I took the paper, glanced at it, and then handed it back to her. Baijiro, I won't forgive you, but I won't hate you anymore either. She froze. Hating someone is tiring. I've been tired for 3 years. I don't want to be tired anymore. Baijiro's tears surged more. Fiercely, she bent over and gave me a bow, then turned and walked away. In the corridor, her silhouette was slender and frail, like a leaf blown down by the wind. I watched her disappear at the end of the corridor, then I closed the door. Back at the desk, I saw an envelope on the table. It was left by old Joe. I opened the envelope, and inside was a photograph. In the photo, Li Qingzhou is wearing handcuffs, sitting in an interrogation room, head bowed, hair messy, and there are injuries on his face. Beaten during the arrest, he looks like a criminal. Oh, wait, he already is a criminal. I put the photo in the drawer and opened the window. The early autumn wind blew in, carrying the fragrance of osmanthus. I suddenly remembered something. 3 years ago, the day I married Li Qingzhou, it was also autumn. The city is filled with the fragrance of osmanthus, and the sky is full of red balloons. I thought that was the beginning of happiness. Only now do I realize that was just an illusion. True happiness is not marrying into a wealthy family, but becoming a wealthy family. Not about relying on someone, but being powerful enough to be your own support. I picked up the phone and dialed a number. Hey, Dad, the wedding stuff can be prepared. A steady male voice came from the other end of the line. That kid, is he reliable? Taller than this building, more imposing, more modern. After that building is completed, we'll move there, and this place will become the past, just like Li Qingzhou. It will become the past. I lowered my head and looked at the wedding ring on my left-hand ring finger. The silver ring glinted in the sunlight. I took it off, held it in my palm, and took one last look. Then I threw it into the trash can. With a ding, the ring falls to the bottom of the bucket, emitting a crisp sound, just like my heart. I have finally shed all its burdens. From today, I will no longer be Mrs. Li. I am Shin Luo Shu, chairwoman of the Siluo Group, the most powerful woman in this city, also the only winner in this story. Chapter 9, the true winner. In the first month after taking over Luo Shu Group, I did one thing, completely turning the company upside down. Not renovations, but remodeling. From systems to personnel, from processes to culture, everything was torn down and rebuilt from scratch. Old Joe said I was too hasty. I should slow down and seek steady progress. I can't wait any longer, because I've waited 3 years already. I don't want to wait a single day more. The vacancies left by those 47 people who were washed away, I filled all of them in half a month. The new hires include executives headhunted from top companies in the industry, overseas returnees who came back from abroad, and several brothers and sisters who grew up with me in the orphanage. Yes, you heard me right. I also have siblings in the orphanage, not kin, but like kin. Those people, when I was at my lowest, shared their bowls of rice with me and gave me the clothes off their backs. Now that I have the ability, of course I will repay them. One of them is named Shin Luo Feng, 3 years younger than me. In the orphanage we've always treated each other as siblings. He studied a master's in finance abroad, and after graduation he works at an investment bank with an annual salary of $1 million. I called him and said I needed him. He flew back the next day and didn't have time to write his resignation letter. He told the company directly, I'm quitting. Old Joe asked me, President Shin, you trust this younger brother this much? I said, in this world, except for him, I don't trust anyone. Old Joe didn't say another word. After Shin Luo Feng came, I made him the company's CFO, in charge of all the money. The financial people like King Zhao used to hire were either good-for-nothings or greedy to the core. Now that my brother is in charge, I can finally sleep soundly. The company's performance is improving, and the stock price is rising steadily. In the first month, the stock price doubled. In the second month, it rose by 50% again. Those stockholders who previously insulted me as a disaster have now all changed their tune, saying I am a stock god. I am not a stock god. I just took back what should have belonged to the company. One day in the third month, Lao Zhou walked into my office with a court verdict in hand. President Shen, the Li Qingzhou case has been decided. I took the verdict and glanced at it. Li Guoliang, sentenced to 12 years in prison and fined 200 million. Li Qingzhou, sentenced to 10 years in prison and fined 100 million. The two together amount to 22 years. Li Guoliang isn't still in the hospital, I asked. The court, considering his condition, allowed him to receive medical parole, Lao Zhou said, but his heart really can't take it. The doctors say he has at most 3 years left. Where's Li Qingzhou? Already sent to prison. I set down the judgment and walked to the window. Outside the window is late autumn sky, gray and dull. The sun cannot be seen, but I know that the sun is behind the clouds. It hasn't disappeared, it's just temporarily hidden, just like my life, once shrouded in gloom, but now the sunlight has begun to shine through. Old Zhou, make arrangements, I want to go see Li Qingzhou. Lao Zhou was stunned for a moment. President Shen, what are you going to see him for? Tie up some things, only after they're tied up can we start anew. Old Zhou didn't ask again, he turned and went to make arrangements. The next day, I appeared in a visiting room at a certain prison. Through the thick glass, I saw Li Qingzhou. He wore a gray prison uniform, his hair shaved into a buzz cut, his beard completely shaved off, but he looked 10 years older than 3 months ago. His eyes were gray, without a trace of light. The moment he saw me, his pupils narrowed for a moment, then returned to gray. He picked up the phone on the wall, and I picked it up on my side as well. Shenluo Shu, his voice hoarse to the point of being almost inaudible. Do you come to see my joke? No, I'm here to bid you farewell. Farewell, he sneered. Farewell to what? Farewell to your victory, farewell to my past. You are my past. From today, I'm turning the page. Li Qingzhou stared at me for a long time, then suddenly smiled. That smile was very bitter, like someone about to drown. Making one last struggle, Luo Shu, he called my name, his voice suddenly softening. If I hadn't left you back then, what would have happened between us? I thought for a moment and said one word, yes. Yes to what? We'll get divorced. Just a few years later, his smile stiffened, because from the very beginning, you weren't sincere with me. I can feel it, Luo Shu. You don't need to explain, I interrupted him. Everything's in the past. Serve your sentence properly, and after you come out, there will be a chance to start anew. Start anew, he laughed again, this time more bitterly. I'm over 40 already. By the time I come out I'll be almost 60. How can I start anew? That's your business, not mine. I hung up and turned around and walked away. Behind me, Li Qingzhou's voice came through, faintly through the glass in the phone, as if he were calling my name. I did not look back. The door of the visiting room closed behind me, sealing Li Qingzhou and that dim room inside my world. When I stepped out of the prison gates, the sunlight blinded me. A black Maybach was parked at the gate, Shenluo Feng leaning against the car door, holding a bouquet of white lilies in his hand. Sis, he handed me the flowers. Congratulations, you've completely turned the page. I took the flowers, smelled them, and smiled. Let's go, there are still many things to do. Where are we going? To see someone. The car sped onto the highway, and the scenery outside the window flashed by. Cities, villages, fields, rivers. Finally, the car stopped at the gate of a cemetery. I held a bouquet of flowers and walked in. The cemetery is very quiet, with only the birds chirping and the rustling of leaves in the wind. I walked up to a gravestone and stopped in my tracks. On the tombstone, a name is carved, Shen Guoliang. This is my father's name. My dad wasn't a big figure, just an ordinary worker. He and my mom died in a car accident when I was 3, and I was sent to an orphanage. I have few memories of my dad. I only remember that he liked to drink, liked to laugh, and liked to carry me on his shoulders and walk around. Dad, I crouched down and placed the flowers in front of the tombstone. I came to see you. The wind blew, the flowers swayed in the wind, as if Dad was replying to me. Dad, I'm rich now, I said with a smile, richer than the boss of the factory you used to work for. If you were alive, you'd surely want me to buy you wine to drink every day. As I spoke, tears began to fall. They weren't tears of sadness, but tears of longing. Dad, don't worry, I won't be bullied again. I'll live well, live to show you, live for everyone. I sat in front of the gravestone for a long time, until the sun dipped west, before I stood up and left. When I walked out of the cemetery, Shenluo Feng was still waiting for me in the car. He saw that my eyes were red and didn't ask more questions, handed me a tissue. Sis, the matter over at Baijiro's side has been handled. How did you deal with it? She took the one 100 million you gave her and went abroad. I heard she went to Canada and opened a small cafe. Life isn't bad there, that's good, although she was wrong, she paid the price. A child is not something money can compensate for. Shen Luofeng glanced at me, hesitated for a moment, and said, Sister, there's one more person, do you want to meet him or her? Who? Lu Xinyan. I was taken aback for a moment. Lu Xianian. I haven't heard this name in a long time. He was my senior in college and also my first love. Later, for some reasons, we broke up. He went abroad, and I married Li Qingzhou. Did he come back? I asked. You're back, Shen Luofeng said. He's never been married, he's been waiting for you. I remained silent for a long time, then said, let him come to see me. The next day, Lu Siren came to the company to see me. He wore a deep blue overcoat, his hair neatly combed, and when he smiled, his eyes were still the same as 10 years ago, curved like a crescent moon. When he walked into the office, I was standing by the window looking at the scenery. Luo Shu, his voice was soft, as if afraid of startling me. It's been a long time. I turned around and looked at him. A decade flowed between us. He has changed, become more mature and steady. I have changed too, become stronger and tougher. Long time no see. Please have a seat. He sat down on the sofa, and I sat down as well. Two people face each other, with a coffee table between them. Luo Shu, I know these years haven't been easy for you. I want to stay with you. From now on, I won't leave again. I looked into his eyes. There was sincerity, there was pity, and there was love. I believe he is sincere, but I'm no longer the silly little girl I was 10 years ago. Lu Siren, I don't need anyone to accompany me. I can get by perfectly well on my own. He nodded. I know, you've always been like this, independent, strong, not needing anyone. But, his tone shifted. I need you. I froze. I need you by my side. Not because you can give me anything, but because without you, my life would have no meaning. The office was quiet for a long time. Outside the window is a bustling city. Inside, two beating hearts. Lu Sirenian. I stood up, walked in front of him. If you dare to treat me the way Li Qingzhou did, I will make you suffer 100 times worse. He also stood up, smiled, a very gentle smile. I dare not. I don't have that kind of guts. I smiled too. This is the first time in 3 months that I've truly smiled, not because revenge has succeeded, not because I hold power, but because there is someone who is willing to wait for me for 10 years, who has finally come before me. In the evening, we had a meal together. It's not a fancy restaurant, just a small noodle shop by the roadside, 2 bowls of beef noodles, a plate of peanuts, 2 bottles of beer. You used to love eating at this noodle shop, Lucinian said. I remember. You always added 2 portions of beef. Your memory is really good. Even I almost forgot about you. I remember everything. I will never forget for a lifetime. I bow my head to eat noodles, my eyes a little misty, not because of being moved, but because of happiness. So happiness can be this simple: a bowl of noodles, a bottle of beer, someone who understands you. After finishing the noodles, Lucinian took me home. The car stopped downstairs at my apartment. He didn't hurry to leave. Instead he looked at me, on the verge of saying something but stopping. What happened? I asked. Luo Shu, his face reddened a bit. Can I hold your hand? I looked at him, as if at a teenage boy. 10 years have passed, and he is still so shy. I did not say a word, and I simply reached out my hand. He held my hand tightly, as if afraid I would run away. Luo Shu, for the days to come, let me walk with you, okay? I looked at him and smiled. Okay. Under the night, the two stood by the streetlight for a long time, holding hands, just like that pair of youths in the university campus 10 years ago, only this time, there is no separation, only staying together. Chapter 10, The Return of the King. 1 year later, the new headquarters of Luo Shu Group has been completed. The building stands 68 stories tall, exactly 20 stories higher than the formerly group headquarters. Its exterior wall is a blue glass curtain wall that shines in the sun, like a giant blue crystal. The 4 large characters Luo Shu Group at the top of the building are made of titanium alloy, each character 3 meters tall, visible even from 10 miles away. Today marks the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the completion of the building. Many people arrived, business people, politicians, the media, and investors and fans who rushed here from all over the country. The red carpet stretches from the front door onto the street, with flower baskets lined on both sides, each basket bearing words of blessings. I'm wearing a red evening gown, with my hair piled up, a diamond necklace around my neck, and pearl earrings on my This necklace was given by Lucinian, said to be a gift to celebrate the completion of the new building. I didn't want to accept it at first. It's too valuable. There's only one like it in the whole world, but he said, you're worth 10,000 times more than this necklace. Well, I'll take it then. Lucinian stood beside me, wearing a black suit and a tie, looking more handsome than ever. He has no official position, isn't an employee of the company, and isn't my partner. He is simply my fiancé. Yes, we are engaged just last month, by the seaside. He knelt down and put a diamond ring on my finger. That diamond ring was so big that my hand would ache from wearing it every day, but I couldn't bear to take it off, because this is the moment he waited 10 years for. Before the ribbon-cutting ceremony, the host held the microphone, his voice loud. Now, please welcome Ms. Shen Luoshu, chairwoman of Luoshu Group, to give a speech. Thunderous applause. I walked onto the stage, stood in front of the microphone, and looked at the hundreds of faces in the audience. Among those people there are my friends, my employees, my partners, and those who once looked down on me, but now have to look up to me. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a day worth commemorating. The audience fell silent. Exactly 1 year ago today, I was crying at a small hotel, changing my flight ticket, because my new husband left me stranded at the airport in the Maldives. There was an outcry from the audience. That was the darkest day of my life, but from that day on, I decided I would no longer be anyone's accessory, no longer depend on anyone. I paused, my gaze sweeping across the hall. I want to be my own master. I want to become the person who controls my own fate. The applause began under the stage. Today, I stand here not because I married well, not because I am lucky, but because I have never given up on myself. The applause grew louder. I want to say one thing to everyone who is going through a trough. Don't fear being left behind, because the moment you are left behind is the moment you take off again. There was applause from the audience, and some people began to wipe tears from their eyes. Thank you all. I bowed and walked off the stage. When the ribbon-cutting ceremony began, Lucinian and I held the golden scissors together. With a click, the red silk ribbon snapped into two. Applause, cheers, and flashes of light mingled together, like a grand celebration. After the ceremony, I took the elevator with Lucinian to the top floor. The top floor is an observation deck with 360-degree panoramic glass, the entire city within view. In the distance are rolling mountains, nearby are bustling streets, and a little closer stands the old headquarters building that once belonged to the Li Group and now belongs to the Luoshu Group. That building has now been turned into a subsidiary of the Luoshu Group, dedicated to charity and public welfare. I want to transform that building from plundering into giving. Luoshu, Lucinian stands beside me, holding my hand. You did it. What did I do? You achieved something Changqing Zhao could never do in his entire life. You let him know what a real winner looks like. I laughed and leaned on his shoulder. Not yet. There is one thing I haven't done yet. What is it? Go see a person. 3 days later, I appeared in the visitation room of a prison. The same room, the same thick glass, but this time, the Li Qingzhou on the other side of the glass looked older than a year ago. His hair had turned white on one side, the wrinkles on his face were like carved with a knife, his eyes were cloudy, and he looked like someone in his 60s. When he saw me, he stared for a long time, then picked up the phone. Shen Luoshu. His voice was no longer human, hoarse like a broken windbag. What are you here for again? Here to show you something, he said, taking a photo from his bag and sticking it to the glass. In the photo, the Luoshu Group's new headquarters building stands, 68 stories tall, with blue glass curtain walls, and 4 large characters glittering at the top. Li Qingzhou stared at that photo for a long time, and his eyes gradually reddened. Is it beautiful? I asked. He did not answer. This building is built on the ruins of your Lisher Group. Li Qingzhou's hand began to tremble. Your father passed away inside last year. When he left, he was still gripping the company's stock certificate. Li Qingzhou's tears streamed down, silently and without a sound. I had someone deliver a flower wreath for him, with the inscription, Mr. Li Guoliang, eternal in memory, signed, Shen Luoshu. Why are you doing this? Li Qingzhou's voice trembled. You hate him. Why send a wreath? Because I don't hate him anymore. Hating someone is exhausting. I'm not tired anymore, so I don't hate him either. Li Qingzhou looked at me, his eyes filled with complex emotions. Luoshu, I'm sorry. For you, I know. Can you forgive me? I thought for a moment and said one word. Yes. Li Qingzhou froze, probably not expecting me to say that, but not now, when I grow old, near death. If recalling you no longer stirs the heart, then at that time I will forgive you. Li Qingzhou lowered his head, shoulders shaking. Crying like a child, I hung up the phone, stood up, and turned around to walk away. A cry of Li Qingzhou came from behind, faintly through the glass on the phone. This time, I still did not look back, because I had let go, completely let go, walking out of the prison gates. The sunlight was blinding. Lu Xinian leaned against the car, holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand, a red rose. Why are they red? I asked. Weren't you always giving white ones before? Before, I gave white ones because there were shadows in your heart that needed healing with white flowers. Now I give red because the shadows in your heart have dissipated, and you can embrace true happiness. I took the flowers, smelled them. The fragrance was rich and soothing to the heart. Lu Xinian, when do we get married? He paused for a moment, then laughed, laughter like that of a child. Whenever you want, then next month. By the sea, Maldives, Maldives. His brows furrowed. That place, yes, that place. I'm letting go of the past place. I want to be there, to start over. Lu Xinian looked at me, his eyes full of love and heartache. Okay, I'll listen to you. I got into the car, leaned back against the seat, and the scenery outside the window sped by. The city, the fields, the rivers, the mountains, everything was receding, everything was becoming a thing of the past, and ahead lies infinite possibilities. When the car drove onto the cross-sea bridge, I rolled down the window, and the sea breeze rushed in, ruffling my hair. In the distance, the sea and sky blended into one. It was hard to tell where the ocean ended and the sky began, just like my life. It's hard to tell where the end is and where the beginning starts. Perhaps there is no end at all. Perhaps every ending is a new beginning. Lu Xinian tightened my hand. Do you regret it? What is there to regret? Regretting marrying Li Qingzhou, regretting those experiences. I thought for a moment, and shook my head. Not regretting. If it weren't for those things, I wouldn't be who I am today. Who are you today? I look at the sea outside the window and smile. Today I am someone who can live well without anyone. But at the same time, I turn to look at Lu Xinian. I am someone who is willing to grow old with you. Lu Xinian laughs, his eyes full of stars. He lowered his head and gently kissed my forehead. Shenlusu, I will make you happy. I know, because this time, I chose you. The car drove over the bridge, heading into the distance. In front is the city skyline. The new headquarters of the Luo Shu Group stands there, like a blue giant overlooking the entire city. The four characters at the top of the building shine in the sun. Luo Shu Group. The four characters are the result of 3 years, countless tears, and a forever unyielding heart. This is not a story about revenge, this is a story about rebirth. A woman, rising from the ashes, step by step to the summit. She doesn't need anyone's charity for happiness, because she herself is happiness. She doesn't need anyone to illuminate life, because she herself is the light. End of the text.